Hello everyone, welcome to BioLearning. In this video, we are going to discuss about transport in plants. So, we are going to discuss how substances like water, minerals and etc. are transported in plants. So, for the transportation of these substances, metabolic energy is required. In plants, transportation takes place over longer distances when compared to animals, and plants does not have circulatory system. Comparing to animals are having circulatory system. So how transportation in plants takes place, let us discuss in this video. Transport in plants. Water is taken up by the roots and reaches to all parts of the plants. Water will be taken up by these roots, and from these roots water will reaches to all parts of the plants. And next, food synthesized by the leaves moves to all parts of the plants, including the root tips also, which are deeply penetrated into the soil. So leaves will synthesize the food through photosynthesis. So the food which is synthesized by the leaves will move to all parts of the plant, including the root tips also, which are deeply penetrated into the soil. So water is taken up by the roots and it will reaches to all parts of the plants. And food which is synthesized by the leaves through photosynthesis, it will move to all the parts of the plant, including the root tips also, which are deeply penetrated into the soil. And then even short distance transportation also takes place in the plant. So in plants, even short distance transportation also takes place, that is within the cell or across the membrane, that is across the cell membrane, or from cell to cell within the tissue. In plants, transportation also takes place over shorter distances also, such as within the cell or across the membrane, that is across the cell membrane, or from cell to cell within the tissue. So short distance transportation also takes place in plants, within the cell or across the membranes, or from cell to cell within the tissue. And then in flowering plants, substances like water, mineral nutrients, organic nutrients and plant growth regulators will be transported. So in flowering plants, substances like water, mineral nutrients, organic nutrients and plant growth regulators like auxins, gibberellins will be transported in the flowering plants. And then next, transportation over small distances, it takes place through diffusion. So transportation over small distances takes place through diffusion and also by cytoplasmic streaming. This cytoplasmic streaming, it is an active process. So over smaller distances transportation takes place through diffusion, that is from higher concentration to lower concentration. So diffusion takes place in smaller cells, and cytoplasmic streaming, it takes place in larger cells. Here diffusion, that means from higher concentration to lower concentration. In this cytoplasmic streaming, cytoplasm in the cell will speed up the transportation of the substances to surround the overall organelles in the cell, and it is an active process. And then transportation over longer distances, it takes place through vascular system. Vascular system, that means here xylem and phloem are vascular tissues. So over longer distances, these vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem, will involve in the transportation, and this process it is known as translocation. Transportation over longer distances, it takes place through vascular system. This vascular system, it involves vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem, and it is known as translocation because the substances such as food and etc. will be transported to one part of the plant to another part. So it is known as translocation. So transportation over smaller distances takes place through diffusion and also by cytoplasmic streaming. Cytoplasmic streaming, which is an active process. Here diffusion takes place mainly in smaller cells, whereas cytoplasmic streaming, it takes place in larger cells of the plants. And then transportation over longer distances, it takes place through vascular system. It involves vascular tissues, that is xylem and phloem, and it is known as translocation because substances such as food and etc. will be transported to one part to another part of the plant. And then direction of transport, it is an important aspect. So just now we have discussed that how transportation takes place through smaller and longer distances. Now we will discuss that how the directions are involved in transportation. So let us discuss now. In rooted plants, the transport in xylem, that is transportation of water and minerals, takes place unidirectional, that means in one direction, from roots to stem. From roots to stem. In rooted plants, transport in xylem, that is transportation of water and minerals, takes place unidirectional. So, in rooted plants, the transportation in xylem takes place in unidirectional, that is from roots to stems. So, xylem will transport water and minerals, whereas phloem will transport the food substances which is synthesized by leaves to the overall plant. So, transportation in xylem takes place unidirectional, that is from roots to stems. And then organic and mineral nutrients are transported multidirectionally. So, organic and mineral nutrients such as micro and macronutrients are transported multidirectionally. And then in the photosynthetic leaves, organic compounds are synthesized and are exported or transported to other parts of the plant, which includes storage organs also. So in the photosynthetic leaves, that means autotrophic plants which will produce the food by themselves. So in these photosynthetic leaves, organic compounds are synthesized and those organic compounds are exported or transported to all other parts of the plants. So in the leaves, the food is synthesized and it is transported to all other parts of the plant. It also includes the storage organs, where the food which is synthesized is stored in those storage organs. Transport in xylem, it takes place unidirectional. It means in one direction, that is from roots to stem. So xylem will transport water and minerals, whereas phloem will transport the food which is synthesized by the leaves. And then organic and mineral nutrients are transported multidirectionally, that means in many directions. And in the photosynthetic leaves, organic compounds are synthesized and those organic compounds are exported or transported to all other parts of the plants. It also includes storage organs. Food which is synthesized by the leaves are stored in the storage organs of the plants, and then later from storage organs they are re-exported or re-transported. So just now we have discussed that photosynthetic leaves will synthesize some organic compound and those organic compounds are transported to all the parts of the plants. It also includes storage organs. Later these storage organs will re-transport the substances. Later these storage organs, it will re-transport those organic compounds which are synthesized by the leaves. So in the photosynthetic leaves, organic compounds are synthesized and those organic compounds are transported to all the parts of the plant including the storage organs also. Later from these storage organs, they are again re-transported to the plant. And then roots takes up the mineral nutrition and transports upwards into the stem, leaves and the growing regions. So roots will takes up the mineral nutrition from the soil and it will transport those mineral nutrition to the leaves, stem and also to the growing regions of the plant. So roots will take up the mineral nutrition and it will transport into the stem, leaves and the growing regions. After that, when any part of the plant, if it undergoes senescence, that means aging, and the nutrients from that senescence regions, it will move to the growing parts of the plant. And then hormones or plant growth regulators. Plant growth regulators such as auxins, gibberellins and all those etc. and other chemical signals are transported in very small amounts through polarized or unidirectional, that means in one direction, unidirectional manner from where they are synthesized to other parts. So where these plant growth regulators or hormones or any other chemical signals, from where they are synthesized, from that site it will transfer to other parts of the plant in unidirectional. So from where these plant growth regulators or hormones or any other chemical signals are synthesized, from those sites it will be transported to all other parts of the plant in unidirectional manner. And then in a flowering plant, transportation takes place in an orderly manner. So in flowering plants, transportation takes place in an orderly or in a sequential manner, and it moves in different directions. And different directions, that means whether it may be unidirectional or it may be multi-directional. In flowering plants, transportation takes place in an orderly manner. Each organ receives some substances and gives out some substances. In a flowering plant transportation, it takes place in an orderly manner. Like xylem transportation, it takes place in unidirectional, and organic and mineral nutrients transportation, it takes place in multi-directional. And each organ will receive some substances and also gives out some other substances. So each organs in the plants will receive some of the substances and also it gives out some other substances. Okay, by this we have completed the introduction part of the transport in plants. In the further videos, we'll continue with the other topics. Okay, do like, share and subscribe the channel.